Hey guys, JK Wargames, and today we're going to do a review for Target for Tonight by Legion Wargames. This is about the strategic bombing over Europe in 1942 to 1945. So in this game you're going to take control of a crew of a bomber of your choice, like a Wellington, a Lancaster, etc. And you are going to fly through zones and get to your target, try and bomb your target, and then get back home. Now this game is based at night, obviously, because it's called Target for Tonight. So the whole thing is your bomber going to be detected? Is radar going to pick you up? Are night fighters going to home in on you, etc.? Now this is a chart heavy game, so you're going to be rolling on charts in each zone, and you're going to be rolling things like the weather, contrails, radar detecting you, etc. So what I'm going to do is just show you a few little components, the board, counters, etc. And then I'm going to do a little playthrough, and then we'll sum up my thoughts on the game. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so this is the playing board for Target for Tonight, and as you can see, the bomber of your choice, you get a little card. These are one-sided, and you lay that down here in the square. This just represents your bomber flying through the dead of night. Now you've got all these numbers. This is where night fighters come in to attack you. So a night fighter, when you roll on charts, might come in 9 o'clock high, might come in 10:30 high. On the right hand side here, you've got your primary target. So before you start a mission, you'll roll for your primary target. Let's say it's in zone 5. And then this represents your Lancaster going through the zones. So you've got zone 1, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4. Okay. And that is all you need to play, really. But then we get the bomber placement board, which I'll show you now. So this is the Lancaster crew placement board. I love the graphics on this. It looks absolutely amazing. So here is where we place our crew. So you can see each square tells us where to place. So we've got a tail gunner. So we're going to use our tail gunner counter and place him there. Now each turret position, you can place a turret counter as well. So that's going to go there. You've got up the top, you've got a navigator, you've got your pilot, bomb aimer, flight engineer, and you've got a wireless gunner, who he can be positioned to other positions in the plane. On the left here, we've got a fire extinguisher if we need to put out fires, etc. And then here we have our altitude. So during the game, you're going to decide what altitude you are going to fly at, low, on the deck, or high. You want to be at high, really. And this is where, if you get detected, a searchlight counter goes. And then we've got different radar bits. These are later war, so we're not really using that track. And this just shows your position in the squadron position of the bombers. So anytime a crew takes a wound or something happens, you can place counters on them. So just say our tail gunner received a serious wound result, you'd put that there, just to see what's happened to him. So in the game you get all different placement boards for each bomber in the game. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go through a little playthrough now and just show you how this works. Okay, so this is our game tables book, and you're going to be using this a lot. So in this book you're going to roll on these charts. So the first thing you have to do before a mission is see what phase of the moon you're in. So it says we roll a 1d10, so let's roll one. We've rolled a 9. So on an 8 to 10, we got a full moon, which is not good because that means we're easier to detect. So you would grab your full moon counter and place that on the moon phase box on your board. So we've done that. Now you can roll for enhanced skills, but we won't do that for this demo. So first of all, we need to do weather over the base for taking off. So again, it says to roll a 1d10. We've rolled a 10. So a 4 to 10 is good weather. There are modifiers, but none of these apply to us at the moment. So we've got good weather. Now, you would mark this down on your zone worksheet. So you've got a zone worksheet and you're going to mark this all down, but obviously I'm not going to do that in this video. Then we need to see what bomber stream takeoff position we're in. Again, this time we're going to roll a 1d6. So we roll 1d6, we roll a 1. Your bomber is in the last 1/3 of the main force bomber stream takeoff. Okay, so we'd mark that as well. That's not good. Then, takeoff. So 1d10. We're going to roll 1d10. We've rolled an 8. So you can see a 3 to 10, takeoff okay. So we're fine. If you rolled anything else, you would look at these notes here. And then we don't need to roll on this table because we haven't had a crash on takeoff. So then we would go to our next table. So, going to the next table is weather in the zone. So, we've done our takeoff. So let's just move that board over a bit. We've done our takeoff. We now move into zone 2. And the first thing we do is roll weather in the zone. So it's a 1d10 roll. We've rolled a 7. So on a 7, 6 to 8, we've got 50% cloud cover. And again, certain things can happen here, but we've got 50% cloud cover, so that's fine. We're now going to roll to see if the mission is recalled, if we get called back to base. Now it's a 2d10 roll, and on a 1 to 6, we get recalled. So we roll the dice. The blue being the 10s, so we've rolled a 49, so we're absolutely fine. 7 to 100, mission continues. So then we're going to go to mechanical failures. Again, there's a slim chance this would happen. We've rolled a 96, so yeah, no chance of that happening. In a Lancaster, you need to roll a 1 to 4 for a system failure. So that's done. We then move on. So if you had a systems failure, you would look up these notes here. Now, then you're going to roll to see contrails. So again, it's a 1d10 roll. This time we've rolled a 3. And on a 1 to 3, contrails do form. So we'd mark that on our work zone sheet. Contrails are formed. We're going to be easier. It's easier for the enemy to spot us now. Now, next thing is bomber detection in the zone. Now, if you're flying over water, you don't roll for this because there's no, there's no AAA firing at you over water, etc. It's only when you get over to land, like Germany, etc. But for this demo, we'll roll it. So it's a 2d6 roll, and we roll an 11. So on a 6 or more, bomber is detected, but we've got some modifiers. +1 if we were in the last 1/3, which we were, so that goes up to +1, which gives us a 12. So we've definitely been detected. So our bomber's detected. Then we roll on this table, searchlight AAA gun detection in the zone. Now we're on a full moon, remember? So we rolled 2d6 and we've rolled a 6. So a 6 or less, bomber is not detected, but we have modifiers. So 50% cloud cover, yes, so that's a -1. So we've gone down to a 5. If your bomber takes off, no, we went in the first. So contrails, that'd be a +1, so we're back to 6. And then we're up to 7 because we took off in the last 1/3. So a 7 on full moon, bomber is detected. So we've been detected. And now, this is where we place our searchlight. They have caught us. And you place that on your Lancaster bomber sheet, which is just to the left of me here. Now, if you stay in a zone, so if we happen to not move into another zone for a reason, you can do continuing searchlight, so you can try and evade the searchlight, but we don't need to roll that now. So now we go into AAA fire, and AAA fire is the charts here. So it's a 1d6 roll. we roll a 2. Now on a 2, it's light AAA fire. We would then, there's modifiers again, we would then roll a 2d6 on light here. Now, depending what altitude you're at, if you're at high, you're going to roll 3 times on this chart. If you're at low, you're going to roll 4 times, and that's why you don't want to be flying at low if you can help it. So, it's a 2d6 roll. We rolled 5, 6, 7 for our first roll, and you can see 5 to 9 is a miss. You do your second roll. This time we've rolled 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, that's a miss. And our third one, 6, 7, 8, 9, a miss. But if we got hit by that, we would then roll a 2d6 roll here on shell hits. We've rolled an 11. So 10 to 11 would be 2 hits. We would then roll another 2d6. And we rolled 11 again. And that tells us it's superficial damage. So nothing much has happened. Now, if we did receive damage, we would then go into our Lancaster manual. Now, these are superb. Look at this. It's really nice little pilot's flight book. So, you would open this and the chart would tell you where the attacks, where to roll. So, if you go through here, you've got the nose, the front center section, the tail, and then you're going to roll a 2d6 roll and then another 1d6 to see what happens. But we evaded the AAA fire, so the next thing we do is roll for night fighters. And this is where it gets exciting now. So we're going to roll a 1d10. Remember, I said this is a heavy chart game. So 1d10, we've rolled a 5. A 3 to 7 is 1 night fighter. There are modifiers. If the bomber is caught by the searchlight, it's a +1. So we're on a 6 now. So, yeah, still 1 night fighter. So we've got a night fighter. Then, the next thing is to see if the night fighter detects us. So we roll a 2d6. And we rolled 6, 7, 8, 9. So, full moon, 7 or more, bomber is detected. But there's a lot of modifiers here. So you'd go through all these. So -1 for 50% cloud cover, all sorts. So for this demo, we'll say we've been detected. The next thing you do is roll for what type of fighter. So the type of fighter is a 1d10 roll. So we'll roll that now. We've rolled a 7. Looking at a 7, now you go in the years. We're playing the first campaign, 1941 through to 1943. So we rolled a 7. It's an ME110 F4. So we grab one of those. So you can see here, it's an ME10 F4. And then we're going to roll to see what quality of pilot he is, and also if he has any special traits. So you'd roll here for radar, a 6, yes. Now this will be a modifier for him. Then you're going to roll a 1d10 for pilot quality. So I rolled a 10. A 10 is a novice, so he's nothing special, he's just a novice. Now, if we rolled higher, he would be a Flieger, a veteran, or experiteur. So you'd place that counter on the pilot like that. Then we're going to roll for his position on the board. So it's a 2d6 roll. So I rolled 2d6. We've rolled a 6. So 6 to 8, he's attacking from the 6 o'clock position. Then we roll 1d6, and he's a 5. He's attacking from the low position. So 6 o'clock low, we place him on that box. So that's where he's attacking from. He's coming behind the plane at 6 o'clock. Okay. Then we're going to see if our bomber detects him. So We're on a full moon, remember, and it's a 2d6 roll. We've rolled a 5. Not good, but there's lots of modifiers. So you go through the modifiers. If we were able to detect him, our bomber can then fire at him first. If we didn't detect him, the fighter goes through and attacks us. Now, let's say we did detect the bomber. We look on our placement board and we can see that the tail gunner can shoot at 6 o'clock low. Okay, so we grab a tail gunner counter and place that next to the fighter. So our tail gunner is going to shoot at him. We haven't got anyone else. Oh yes, we have. We got the ventral gun that can shoot at 6 o'clock low, so he could take a shot as well. Now there's no one manning that, but I can move the wireless gunner to that position. So let's just say the tail gunner is shooting at him. It's a 2d6 roll. We roll 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we're going to look at our charts, and we can see for a fighter we need an 8 to 12 to get hit, but there's lots of modifiers. So you're going to go through all these, and you can see here you get a +1 for defensive fire against the 6 o'clock position. So that would go +1, so we're now on that 8. Say you've gone through all those modifiers, the fighter is hit. You're then going to roll 1d10 to see what damage you do on the fighter. A 5. We've rolled a 5. So then you consult the fighter table for the plane, which is an ME-110, and a 5 is an FCA result. And you can see here, FCA, fighter damage, but continues this attack with a -1 dice roll modifier on table 513. So if he gets another result, if he gets another FCA result, he's destroyed. So not bad. You'd place an FCA counter on there. I haven't got one to hand. And we know he's got a -1 when he attacks. So the fighter carries out his attack. Now, because we detected the fighter, we can choose to do a maneuver, a corkscrew maneuver, but that will give you negatives when you're firing. So we opted not to do that. So the fighter's going to fire. He rolls 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's look at his chart. And his chart is here. So he's attacking from 6 o'clock low, and he needs a 7 to get a hit. But there's modifiers. At the moment, he's rolled 3, 4, 5, but he gets a +2 for an experitor, so that goes up. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7. But he did have an FCA, remember, so it's down -1, so that would be a miss. But let's say he's hit us. So he's hit us. He's then going to roll damage on the bomber. 2d6 roll. Wow. When the camera's on, that's the only time you can roll that. So he's rolled a 12. Now what you do is you go 12 and you go across to 6 o'clock. That's 5 hits. So we have to roll 5 hits. The next thing you do is see if that's multiplied. So you roll a 1d6. You rolled a 5. ME-110. Rolled a 5. No, it's not multiplied. So 5 hits on our bomber. Now this is where you need your Lancaster manual. So you're going to open this, and we're being attacked from the 6 o'clock position. So we're rolling on this chart first, and we have to do this 5 times, but we're not going to do that 5 times. I'll do it a couple of times to show you. So 2d6 roll. We've rolled 6, 7, 8. So looking at 8, go across to low, starboard wing. So you go across to your wing position and you roll on this table, see what damage happens. Wow, rolling high today. Rolled an 11. So 11, wing route. So one wing route hit A. When a wing route hit is accumulated 6 hits over the course of a mission, the wing rips off and the crew must immediately bail out according to table 7.4. So you would mark this on your mission log that your wing's taken that hit, and then if that happens 6 times, your crew are going to have to bail out. So that's the first thing that's happened. We then go back and we roll again. So roll 2d6, 6, 7, 8. Going across to starboard wing again, but let's say we hit the tail this time. So we're going to find the tail, which is here. We're going to roll a 2d6. We roll an 11. 11, oxygen supply. Roll 1d6. We roll 1d6, it's a 5. So 1d6, 1 to 5, tail section, oxygen supply out. So you put an oxygen supply out, and your bomber is going to have to fly low. You're going to have to change altitude in the next zone. Otherwise, your guys are going to be seriously in danger. So that's how you resolve damage. Now, if a crewman in the bomber took a wound result, you're going to roll on the wound table. So you'd roll bomber crew wounds. So you'd roll 1d6, a 1, light wound, crewman may continue duties. So if you rolled a 4 to 5, it'd be a serious wound, and if you rolled a 6, he's killed in action. Now, if you've got a light wound, you can roll on this table. This is purely for flavour. So let's roll 2d6. We've rolled a 3. 3. Roll 1d6, sorry. Roll a 3 again. Chest cut, graze, superficial. Doesn't affect the game in any way, but it builds that picture up, that story of what's happening inside that bomber. Okay, so after the night fighter has attacked, you're going to try and lose contact with him. So you're going to roll 1d10. And you've rolled a 4. So 5 or less, contact is lost by the night fighter. But again, there's modifiers. It can be so difficult to get rid of these guys. Now, if you don't get rid of them, you're going to roll 2d6 again for another position for him to attack. And you go through that whole process again while staying in the same zone. If you get rid of this guy, then you go to the navigation table and see if you're on course. You'd roll a dice for that. 7. With modifiers, we're on course, so we're fine. You're then going to roll. The last thing you roll for in the zone is collisions, because you're flying at night. There could be collisions between bombers in the squadron. So you roll 6, 7, 8, 9. On a 10, on 11 or more, there's a possible collision. But there's no threat of a collision. That's done. We can now move zone. We move into zone 3 and you go through the whole process again. So you're going to roll for weather in the zone. You're going to roll to see if you're detected, contrails, combat, etc. So that is the basics of gameplay. So you're just going to roll through all those charts and see what happens. Now, the missions can take a little while to play, but this is a game that you have to invest in. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it. The last thing, once you get to your zone, you're going to roll for bombing, but I'm not going to do that because this video would be way too long. After you've done your bombing, you then turn your token round and you're going to fly back through all the zones. Now, once you get into zone 1, you roll for the weather over your base, and then you're going to roll for landing, and there's modifiers, so you might crash, crewmen might die, the plane might explode. When you're rolling on the wound table, it is pretty graphic, so you know, it will say, you know, killed by a bit of shrapnel that's gone through the guy's brain, etc. It's really graphic, but again, building that picture. This is not a game where you're going to go, oh, how many victory points did I score at the end of this? Do I get a victory point for killing? No, this is purely almost a role-playing game. So you get to the end of your mission. Did we get back safely? What happened to our crew? And then you're going to fill in your mission log sheet. So our tail gunner, he was killed in action and he's called James. Oh no, we've lost James. We're going to have to replace him with a new guy. So I really enjoy that building that story up. Definitely a unique experience. If you don't like tables, this one might not be for you. But once you've played a couple of missions, you can just fly through the tables really quick. And there's a lot of guys on the Board Game Geek that have printed out files that have condensed the charts down anyway. So right, let's wrap this up with my final thoughts. So final thoughts on the game. It's a fantastic, unique experience. When I played this, it just made me think, wow, imagine what these guys went through in the dead of night, wondering, are we going to be detected? You know, they can hear a fighter, but they can't see him. You know, it must have been absolutely terrifying. And I think this game brings that across really well. I enjoy rolling on charts. It's, you know, it's the experience of, right, we've rolled, what is going to happen? You know, some people say, oh, there's not many decisions in the game. There's a couple, you know, you can move crew around in the plane, etc. But this is a game where you're being guided almost, right, roll this table, roll this table. But there's so much that can happen, and there's a lot of optional rules as well, which can add even more to the experience. The missions can take quite a while. You know, I've played a mission, it must take me a good 2 hours, but I had an amazing time. And that's the reason we play these games, is because we want to have fun. So if you like World War II and you're into bombers, then this is definitely one to pick up. There is Target for today. I haven't played that game, but I will be getting that now. So if you like the video, make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.